Hello, Michelle McCormick here. We are getting started with our third session in the call center track, and thank you for joining us on the previous with GridSpace and UJet. We're going to switch gears here, and we're going to go to something that I think is one of the most innovative and exciting technologies that I've seen in the marketplace today. So thank you, Shantenu, for joining us today. While we look at soul machines, this is really an experience that brings face-to-face digital interactions to the forefront, right? And creates that digital experience for end users, and really takes, I would say, the customer experience to the next level. And I'm really excited about your guys's solution, about your guys's technology. I'm excited for you to present today, and the floor is yours. Take it away, and yeah, let's have
Awesome.
some fun.
Thanks, Michelle. And just to confirm, you can hear me, yeah?
Yes, I can, and I can
Perfect.
see your presentation as well.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks again, Michelle, for those kind words. Really excited to be here and to introduce Soul Machines to the audience. As Michelle said, we are a little bit more future thinking when it comes to our solution. And we are seeing a lot of traction in folks, especially as a result of everyone living in the pandemic and all of us being in the metaverse, so to speak. So really want to introduce you to some of the work that we're doing, talk about why we're doing it, and really would be open to answering questions at the end. So for any of you, for all those who are listening, please feel free to add your questions in the chat along the way. So I'm Shantenu Agarwal, and I'm the VP of AI and Ecosystems at Soul Machines. And just a little bit of context of my background, very familiar with the contact center space. Prior to Soul Machines, I worked on Watson, which was IBM's AI platform, famously known for its Watson Conversation and Watson Assistant. And prior to that, I actually worked on IBM's contact center division before we divested it. So very familiar with the space and been working on this for the past decade. And that's what makes me really excited to present here, is because I think Soul Machine's solution really helps uh, bring the contact center experience to a whole new level and to the time that we are today here in a virtual world. So why are we doing this? Just to kind of kick it off, and the real key thing that we've seen, and many people have talked to us about, is customer experience is the key competitive differentiation for the customer service. And I think everyone here can appreciate that. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but what that actually means is that customer service needs to have super experiences, and they need to have these experiences that are transformative, that are able to connect with folks. And we talk about that a lot. And I just put these stats up here just to kind of ground us in the sense that customer experience is what we are focusing on, and our solution is driving a positive super experience. And although there are a lot of solutions out there, although a lot of people are working on this area, we still know that we're not nearly there. And we believe that our solution can uplift contact centers and help folks really engage with their end users in an empathetic way. And we think about customer experience. Why? Because organizations, really think about offering the competitive edge, but it's only not their only primary differentiator. And we do see a lot of organizations still struggling with focusing this in their primary area. And I think as all of us are at home and all of us are around the world having to engage in interactions that are not face to face, recreating that is even more important, especially because we are going through technology and screens as such. And so we kind of see that as the empathy deficit. What does that mean? Well, many stats out there talk about the fact that brands really try to provide a great empathetic customer experience. They attempt to do a lot of multi channels, they attempt to do a lot of content in that space, but they're not able to attach with the end user. And that's because of various reasons. Could be part of the technology experience, could be part of the content that's presented, could be part of the fact that it's not personalized. But what we're seeing is that there is this gap that brands, although they are trying, are not really connecting with their end users. And therefore, end users or our customers are not feeling like the brands care about them. That empathy deficit is what's driving a lot of exploration from brands around how to engage, especially when you have to engage through the screen as a primary purpose. And so one solution that we had thought about here at Soul Machines is about digital people. And how do you bring those digital people to empathize and reflect your brand? And I'll talk a little bit more about digital people, but just to kind of set the context here, digital people is a UI that people can understand and represent. Since we were all born, as babies, as kids, all of us understand the human face. There's a reason why I'm sitting here on the screen talking to you. You can see my visual representations. I can see Michelle smiling. You're getting this feedback that you otherwise don't get when you're just doing a voice or chat based interaction. And so being able to use the visual screen and use the visual elements to provide that empathy, provide that added connection is something that our digital people are able to provide to your end users. And this is what's great about it is because it's so natural. It's not something contoured. It's not something that someone needs to learn. It's something that we all know naturally as human beings. So I'm going to play a video quick just to kind of explain some of the work that we're working on, and I'll get into some more details.
Hey there, I'm Ruth, the Nestle Toll House Cookie Coach.
Soul Machines has built the world's first digital brain. It enables human-like face-to-face interactions that are personal, empathetic, and interactive in exactly the same way that our human brain animates us and brings us to life when we interact with each other.
So what's important about this human operating system is it providing a connection between artificial intelligence and people, but even more importantly, it's creating this connection between people and intelligence. So as we explore the potential for this, people can put this technology to work in a way that redefines their business, redefines what is possible.
Soul Machines digital people provide a safe and engaging way to connect brands and customers. We are creating mind-blowing experiences like Ruth, Nestle's Cookie Coach, a global CPG skincare advisor, WHO's Florence healthcare expert, and entertainment twins like will.i.am and more.
And we're moving into an era where we're going to spend more and more of our time interacting with artificial intelligence, with robots and other forms of automated machinery. And wouldn't all of those machines be more useful to us as humans if they were more like us?
So many times after I kind of showcase these videos, I give examples, people are like, wow, this is great, a little futuristic. And it's funny, 3 years ago when I was talking about this pre-pandemic, the biggest question I used to get is, are people willing to turn on the cameras at home? Now, with the pandemic and just the fact that we're sitting here in this conference, I think behavior has changed dramatically. There's more accepting rationale to turn on your cameras. There's more accepting rationale to engage online. And in fact, even more people are expecting that. And you can see that as people are changing their work habits. Not everyone wants to go back to the office. People want to work hybrid. People want to work from wherever they can. And people are more comfortable engaging with their coworkers, with their company. And now their brands and their companies that they want to invest in and work with, and they expect that same experience all around. But it's really hard to scale up the one-to-one video interaction. Having a contact center person do that is not scalable. Creating content is not scalable as it needs to be more personalized. And that's where Soul Machines comes in is we believe as you scale and as more and more folks come online, having an autonomously animated digital person is one solution to help you with that growing need and demand. And so why are we doing this? What does it benefit from having a digital person? And part of that is that empathy. Part of that is that empathetic interaction that brands need to convey across the screen. And that's difficult to do. As it is, we're all kind of feeling out the new world here of trying to interact and create these relationships. But this is the new normal. And with the visual appeal of a digital person, with the AI brain behind that, you're able to provide and convey appreciation, respect, and value to your end user and to your customers such that they are able to create this empathetic connection. And this is important as you build a relationship across time and as you create customer service across different journey points. So just to get into a bit more detail there, when we think about empathy at a customer experience level, there's 3 levels that we've seen. Starting from the bottom and going to the top, you have cognitive empathy. Do I understand you? Do you understand me? Am I able to understand and get aligned with what I need from you? And this is what's important because you're able to convey that emotion and feeling. Part of that is providing the right answer, but part of that is providing that in the tone and the response that merits that. You want to be able to deliver the message in a way that helps them feel like they're connected and they're being heard and listened to. And part of that is then the emotional empathy. You want to be able to build that personal connection, build that relationship. And part of that comes with not just only answering the question, but making them feel like they're respected and they're able to have trust. And this is where compassion comes in. Building trust is honestly the most important thing that we see in terms of building a sustainable customer relationship. And doing that at scale is difficult with today's solutions because you rely on contact center agents or you rely on scripted content. But if you're able to create dynamic, autonomously animated content at scale, you're actually able to create that trust. And trust isn't just measured in the number of minutes or actually in less minutes. Sometimes it requires more, but you're unable to do that in today's centers. And I'll show you in the future why. I'll show you in the future slides where some of our brands are actually able to create that trust, provide the amount of time that their customers need to get the solution in a respectful way. So I just want to give another demonstration about the digital person and empathy and what that looks like.
Hey Sam, can you tell me how real-time gesturing works?
Sure, and great question by the way.
And sorry to pause. I forgot to mention this in the previous video. When we're doing video on video on video. So in some cases you may see a lag, you may see some things in that space. It's just, that's what we're working in today's current video infrastructure. Obviously, when you're interacting with a digital person in real time, it's less of a latency. So in case there's some lag, I just wanted to preface that before this demonstration.
Basically, I analyze the words and sentiment of my conversation in real time. Then, as I'm speaking, I add appropriate expressions and gestures based on the meaning.
That's cool.
The conversation you create brings my behavior to life. Want to see how?
Yes, please.
I say something professional, poised, calm and sensible, I'll behave the same way. Here's an example. Hello, I'm Sam, and I'm here to help your business connect with customers in a whole new empathetic way.
Well, that's impressive. Go on.
Let's try a more emotional tone. I'm so sorry to hear you're having a hard time and feeling isolated. I will do my best to solve your problem so you can focus on other things. See what I mean?
Absolutely. And something more upbeat?
Sure. Hey, I'm Sam, and I'm so delighted to finally meet you and discuss our exciting project.
Me too. Thanks, Sam.
So you're able to kind of get a sense of some of the breadth of emotions. This is just one of many examples where you are able to have a digital person convey the right meaning at the right time. Our digital people are able to convey emotion through all the emotions that you can think of, from sadness to happiness and everything in between. And we've seen with some of our customers that actually they want to have their digital person represent themselves in a certain way. And so then they train the personality of the digital person to act in a certain brand voice and a brand respect, such that they always represent the brand, but also be empathetic in the best way possible. And this is the dynamic real-time animation they're able to create. And this is none of it is scripted. This is based off of understanding the context that it's in, and then you're able to generate content that is on point and, for the person that you're interacting with. Again, I want to emphasize that, right? It's not about just creating a scripted area. It's about creating a real life interactive experience. And if you think about your total cost of ownership over time of any asset, whether it's a script or anything else, if you have to keep regenerating new content for that, it gets expensive. And so that as you move forward and as you create more dynamic content, that actually helps your business over the medium term while driving additional engagement and empathy with your end users. And so many times I get the question, okay, so Shantenu, this is a chatbot plus a face, right? We've seen this before, great trick, that's great, and not really, right? And I think chatbots have a place in the world. I was a product manager for Watson Assistant, so I can fully appreciate that aspect. Just like radio has a place in the world today, right? Audio, just like newspapers have it today. There's text, there's visual, and there's video as well. And every use case has a specific purpose. And so I would suggest to say, or I'd propose to say that, listen, if you want to get your password reset, that's great. Quick transaction, I don't even want to talk to someone in real life. go use a chatbot, use that channel. But if you're looking for something that's more emotionally charged, maybe someone's buying something that's high value, where you want to engage with people over a long period of time, you need to start providing more of that richness of the interaction. And you start to think about, well, how do I get back to that one-to-one human scale, human interaction that you can get in person at scale? And this is where we see digital people really coming in, as you're able to get back to that experience and do that across time zones, mediums, displays at scale. And this is what we're really excited about when it comes to the digital people and our AI brain that drives these digital people. And just kind of harping a little bit more on the benefits, right? As most of us can appreciate, digital people don't need to sleep, they don't need to eat. They're there for you at any period of time. They can start to speak several languages. And so you can start to drive consistency across your brand, regardless of where you are. If you're a large multinational, or if you even in the United States, if you have different demographics that you're going after, you can provide a digital person that maybe your end user might actually appreciate. Your members, your customers may want to talk to you. You can start to provide choice and they get comfortable with. And this is a whole new paradigm shift. Rather than them, your members having to call in and figure out who to talk to, they can start figuring out who they want to speak with based off maybe some comfort level, language choices. And that makes them feel like they own part of their journey and they're engaged and feel like they're being respected and listened to and heard from. And you're able to then show your innovation in this space. Again, as I mentioned before, all of us are living in our video world. We're all living in our boxes as we speak. And so how do you take advantage of that in a way that can allow you to go to where people are today, engage with them, and then also do this at scale? We believe technology AI is the only way you can do this at scale. And we believe the way in which we've done it through our autonomous animation brain is the way you can animate these characters at scale and allow the processes for you to then kick into your other ways of your journey. And why? Because digital people can be in one place, but they can support your customer journey across different touch points. These are the moments where you can provide and interject assistance when needed, whether it's getting care in the contact center or whether they're shopping, and you can then provide that same consistent person. Hi, I'm Sam. I know I helped you out with your problem buying a printer the other day. Let me help you get your computer. And you have that consistency, you have that trust, that relationship over time. And we believe that should yield much more results, better results, average revenue per user, deflection in overall cost, and you're reducing your total cost of ownership over time. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing in some of our customers to date. With some of our early digital people out there, they're starting to see a lot more drive towards click-through rates and over an industry average. This is because they're being used to help drive engagement and help people understand a product that's on a website. We're also seeing them being able to offset conversations or offset contact center questions, being able to focus on completing the task and being more effective than a chatbot. And you're seeing two examples on the left side here. But what's interesting on the right-hand side is you are seeing an increase in customer satisfaction and the fact that conversations are being able to be managed in a way that's on the member's specific timeline. It's really interesting because I read a Forrester report the other day that talked about in Asia, for example, chatbots were deployed and they were effective, but they weren't empathetic. People felt like although you're able to get your answers, you felt like you lost touch with the brand, felt like you lost touch with the connection there. And so how do you bring that back? How do you bring that empathy and how do you bring that long-term value to your interaction? And that's something that we're starting to see with our customers. And I'll give you another example here. So Nestle Toll House, you saw mentioned that earlier in the video. They're using this to do a digital baking coach. So you can go to the website today, interact with Ruth and learn how to bake cookies or get help as you baking cookies with their ingredients. And they're able to they saw a lot of impressions within their launch of Ruth, and they're able to see an increase in their NPS and CSAT full overall experience. Now, many of us in the contact center space would see, oh man, average conversation length is 10 to 13 minutes. That's terrible. No one wants to have that. That's a high cost. But guess what? That did not cost them anything. It's scaled, it's a video stream, and the customers feel like they're being heard and listened to. They're having a complex issue. Maybe they're unable to bake a cookie. They have all these questions. And this cost them pennies to service that request while being able to connect with their end users, and drive NPS and CSAT. So you're starting to change the paradigm a bit in terms of the metrics and the business model around what does it mean to serve a customer. It's no longer about average handling time or average cost per call. It's about customer empathy, customer satisfaction, and making sure that people feel like the brand is there to listen to them and convey with them. And that's what really helps drive retention and loyalty and customer value over time. Another example that was kind of demonstrated earlier was around a skin and care expert. And you're starting to see that they're able to drive conversion to folks that are learning about the product that's online, and then helping to drive conversion along the way. And you're seeing a skincare expert who's there, who's listening, who's ever present at any time, be able to drive people to carts and drive more than likely buy the top 5 products on the website. So that's amazing if you think about this, because you're able to drive the business metrics in a convenient, empathetic way. So what can a digital person do? Well, if you think about what a real person can do, that's a lot of what our digital people are able to do as well, right? They're able to see, hear, they can touch with digital objects, express and speak, and able to learn and understand as they go with the conversation to be able to provide the best experience for you. And so we are working as a technology platform to enhance all these cognitive capabilities such that when all this comes together, you're having a great experience with the digital person. And there's a lot of tech underneath this. I'm happy to go into details if folks want, or happy to talk to folks offline about this, but there's a lot of underlying tech around AI, how we're doing our research and science around this space to bring this together. And the beauty of our product is that it seems so simple, that it seems like it works well, but there's a lot of IP and tech behind that we've been working on over the past 10 years to bring this to life. And as just a preview, we do have what drives our digital people is what we call the human OS, the operating system, and that has a digital brain. What's different than, let's say, other types of CGI characters is some of these CGI characters are just the character of the puppet and require scripting, or some of these CGI characters are just video scripts. That's great for a linear storytelling, but as we all know, nothing's ever linear in customer experience, and so you need a brain that can adapt, understand, and perceive what's going on such that you can react in action in an appropriate way. And that's our focus when it comes to creating an autonomous response. Again, it's hard to know what everyone's going to say in a pre-script, and it's hard to drive empathetic experiences if you have only a script. So having a brain that can react is really important. And that's part of our AI research as part of our platform. So kind of just to end on a little bit of a note here, which is, McKinsey talks about improving the customer experience as building an advantage. I think with the fact that we're in this new normal, I think that everyone's getting comfortable with video, that brands who work forward on this experience now will only be at an advantage as more and more folks demand and require empathy and interaction through the video experience. So digital people are that next tool for positive customer experience. We're there for you. We can go between web, mobile, and into the virtual worlds as they become online. We're able to provide that ease and effectiveness and work with your contact centers and your folks to integrate into your experience. So please feel free to reach out as we continue to move forward. And thank you so much for your time, and happy to answer any questions that folks have.
Hey, I got a question that came in regards to what industries you guys service. Is there anything specific that you're seeing a rise in activity or opportunities within certain industries?
Yeah, great question. So we are a horizontal platform, and we've seen activity across several industries. You've seen a few examples in the CPG area in terms of the examples I've shown, but we've seen a lot of activity in banking, healthcare, education, government. As we know, customer experience is everywhere. Every industry is being transformed as we get into the digital age. So really, everyone is looking to how to interact in the new normal, and really excited to work with partners and clients across the various industries.
Perfect. And then, hey, we have a couple of minutes, so I just wanted to touch on a use case I heard from Soul Machines last time we met with them in
Yeah,
regards to an airport experience. And
sure.
that's very relevant, I think, this week as we look at a lot of people having canceled or moved flights over the past few days. But just how that experience was for all demographics, age groups within, I believe it was either St. Louis or Texas. It was a Midwest airline or airport
Yeah,
that you guys were in.
yeah. Yeah, so great example. So in the airport, the idea was, how do airports help manage customers' flow and people have questions? Airports, as many of us may remember, or some of us still are starting to experience again, can be a very overwhelming experience. People going everywhere, gates are at different places, and so part of the use case that our client, this large airport, asked us for was, how do we help direct? How do we help engage with our flyers, many of which aren't very comfortable or not very used to flying. And so we're looking for different solutions around how to engage with folks. You may recall, like in the olden days, there were these cutout avatar things that have screens, or like people say, welcome to an airport. It's like very my personal opinion, very bad marketing, but it's not, because it's not interactive. It's just like, hi, how are you? But what they've seen with our digital experience is people are engaging, getting the questions they're asked for. And rather than having to wait on a line to ask someone behind the bench, you're able to go to a screen, log in, and start asking questions about where is my next flight, where should I be eating, tell me about the weather delay that's happening on this airport. Oh my God, I'm canceled. What do I do next? And it's a very frustrating experience. Flying is not as it used to be. And so having the empathy all the time is something that the digital person is able to convey. I mean, God bless the frontline workers in the airports, because they have to deal with a lot of different issues, and it's hard to keep that smile all day, every day. But with the digital person, you're able to at least provide a bit more support for those folks and allow your flyers to feel like they're being heard and empathized. So, yeah, it's a great use case where you have um, high emotions running, confusion. People just want to feel like they want to get from point A to point B, and if you're able to provide that in a meaningful way, which we're starting to see, it's really exciting.
Yeah. And because it has a brain, right? You guys were able to uncover that there was something that you missed, which was, people kept asking for, where is this restaurant or this barbecue joint within this airport?
Yeah,
And nobody thought that would be a question that would be asked of your digital person of, where could I go get this beer or get this barbecue? And it
and
helps actually now, dictate trends and capture those analytics that you wouldn't otherwise have.
and I'm not paying you to say that, but that's exact. That's a great kind of benefit that to kind of amplify, is that you're able to do now. Not only are you able to help them in real time, but you're able to do audience research. So what are people actually asking about? What do people need to know if in this scenario? How do you actually take that back such that you can do better operational input? And so that's great. You're seeing that with the airport experience. You're seeing that with the skincare expert. What do people actually ask? Because guess
Right.
what? And this is something we've seen. People are more open when they're not feeling judged by another human. If they just feel
Sure.
like they're being helped, they're able to ask more questions, and then that actually helps the brand understand the real needs of the user, rather than doing focus groups, or instead, in addition to doing focus groups or trying to get people observe them from afar, you can just hear what they're saying in the wild, and they're more open that way. So yeah, it's a
In
great
the wild.
secondary
I
in
love
the wild.
it. In
Fact.
the wild. I'll leave it at that. But thank you so much for the time today. Really love Soul Machines, where you guys are taking the customer experience and journey. Very innovative, and hope to see it in more airports soon. But yeah, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And we are going to head over to the next session with Downpad. So
Thank
have a
you.
great day, and yeah, go Soul Machines.